Hey guys, I'm Phill Guard. I have a few jobs here with the football team at Georgia Southern. I run Gata Lifestyle, so that's what he was talking about. All the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts from Gata Lifestyle. The Friday night videos that go out through the football account as well, through our social media accounts. I got a new title as well. I'm the assistant director of player personnel. That happened like 2 weeks ago, so that's going to be a lot of recruiting and stuff for me. I've basically just been watching kids huddle high school highlights for the last 2 weeks. So that's been really cool. And you need glasses for that one. Um, and then I also do the video for coaches video. So like after the game, when they're ready to break the film down, we do the sideline and two end zone angles for coaches film, which is a lot more involved than you would think it would be. But just where I started, I'm a small school guy. I didn't go to a bigger school like Georgia Southern. I'm from Geneva, New York. It's not in New York City. Everyone always thinks that. It's between Syracuse and Buffalo. So I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. It's killing me that they're playing right now. But grew up between Syracuse and Buffalo, very snowy area. Went to school at University of Mount Union. It's in Ohio. It's a Division III school. I played football there for 3 years, and then my senior year got hurt, so I started coaching. And I was a student assistant coach my senior year there, which was pretty cool because it was pretty involved. And then we were able to win the national championship one time. We won one time, but we played in it 4 times there, which was obviously really cool, as you can imagine. And then after that, like I knew I wanted to get into coaching, and I know that's way different from where I'm at right now. But this is something obviously to pay attention to about my story. I know it's not anything crazy, but I went into this whole deal thinking I was going to be a coach, right? Was a position coach at Albright College. They offered me $2,000 to come be a running backs coach there. They said they had housing for me, and it was at the time Reading, Pennsylvania was the murder capital of the United States. So I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let me get out of my comfort zone. Let's go live in Reading. Let me coach the running backs for this really below average football team in Division III. And we had the best year there that they've ever had. And we were 10-2. We ended up playing Mount Union in the playoffs. So a year after I graduated from there, we played them. We got crushed, but it was a cool experience. But just learning to work with different types of people. You know what I mean? There was a big Latino population in Reading, Pennsylvania, and that was something that growing up in Geneva, New York. It was pretty diverse, but maybe not for Latinos. You know what I mean? And it was something that was cool to just be immersed in that culture there. And then be able to, the next year I got offered a job at St. Lawrence University, which is basically in Canada. It's in northern New York. I was the offensive line coach, a really high academic school. Kids were smarter than I was that I was coaching. Again, it was totally different because you're dealing with a totally different type of person. It was really cool. You got the opportunity to come down here as the offensive line GA at Georgia Southern under Tyson Summers. And I was the O-line GA his first year. We went through a coaching change that year. So that was new to me as well. Coach Lunsford kept me on as the offensive line GA the next year. Obviously had a really good year. And then my GA was pretty much over, and I didn't end up getting my master's, which is something I still want to do. But basically it got to December after the Camellia Bowl, and he was going to put me in an off the field role in a full-time position. So I ended up being the video coordinator, something I didn't know how to do. I had no idea how to do cut film, all I knew is the angles of practice that we filmed. I accepted the job and I learned it. And that's kind of one piece of advice I will give to you, throughout this whole process is like, you may not know how to do the job. You may not know the slightest clue of how to do the job, but I remember on signing day, my first year, I had to make signing day graphics for these high school seniors that wanted something that was legit. And I hadn't touched Photoshop. Like I've never even opened Photoshop. And what did I do? I went to my computer. I YouTubed how to do this. How do I do that? Called my friend Chandler, who's now the graphics designer at Georgia. And we got together, and he just taught me how to do things that were simple, that looked really nice. And that's kind of how I started with it. And somehow got put in charge of all these kids that are better than I am at these skills. I'm in charge of them. And at first it was crazy. I just didn't know what to do. And then I just started putting them in positions where I knew that they would be good. Okay, the graphics guy, let's make sure he has a plan of exactly what he needs to do and what his time frame is. The video guys, we had a kid named Reed Mackey and Sam Schwartz. They're ridiculously good. Austin Mitchell shoots our games. He's awesome as well. I mean, they just know what they're doing. And I was in the culture where I'm leading them, but learning from them. And it was really cool to be a part of because they were putting out content that was ridiculous at the time. We were really fired up about it. And now I'm to the point where, I can jump in and pretty much do anything that we do now. But it was a whole year of, man, how do I do this? Let me get on the computer. How do I do that? Let me get on the computer. And just trying to learn things that I didn't learn. So every day I was picking up 2 to 3 new things that I would be upset at myself if I had to YouTube it the next day. You know what I mean? And just trying to stay like, my end goal is not to be a video guy. It's not to be a graphics guy. It's not to be, in charge of social media. I still want to coach on the football field. That's my end goal. But I know that if I don't put the effort in that I would put into coaching, into the job that I have now, there'd be no chance. Coach Lunsford would never look at me as a coach if I'd put really bad effort into Gata Lifestyle or into coach's video. So I just try to show that same effort, same enthusiasm every single day that I would towards coaching to the job of being a video guy, because it makes it a lot more enjoyable when you're happy around the people that are working for you. And I think we do a good job. I mean, I think we can do some things better, but I think right now, especially under COVID, here we are talking over Zoom, but you guys understand things aren't normal right now. So like the more things that you can do to make things normal, like researching stuff at home or just get yourself in a regular schedule, it obviously just makes things a lot smoother and better. But that's kind of my story, real short and brief, but that's where I've come from. That's where I'm at, and I'm definitely not done. I'm definitely not content being where I'm at, but I'm also very grateful and happy for where I'm at, because I know that it could have been anyone else that got this job, you know what I mean? Or it could be one of you guys may want this job, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to do my thing, get on and get to where I want to be, as we all want to be, I'm sure. But do you guys have any specific questions or really about anything from, really anything? I can answer whatever. Dan, you got any questions?
Sure, Phil. So for those of you who don't know, Phil and I, we work together a good amount here during the football season. So, but I know you don't just work with, across departments with marketing. So maybe talk a little bit about what is your interaction, your relationship like between your role and marketing, creative services, and others across campus.
Right. So obviously work a lot with Brian Johnson and Megan Lieben, who run the official athletics accounts, as well as Dan. I mean, obviously on game day, Dan and I coordinate. Basically, we want to have a happy medium between keeping the fans happy and keeping the game environment, fun and friendly, but also keeping the players excited on third down or getting it turned up in 2-minute drill. You know what I mean? Like, there's been times where, coaches wanted something. He tells me on the sideline, I go in the injury tent and I shoot it up to Dan in a text message. So we can get that thing executed the very next play. But we're constantly working with, Chris Davis is a really big part of helping us. Those guys have been awesome. Chris and Jared coming in, like they are really good and they're getting things done and they're there when we're doing stuff. Like, for example, we were shooting a video for the new lights, when Dan was there, and Chris Davis just walks on the field, just wants to say what's up, wants to know what we're doing. And I think that's really cool from a guy in a leadership position to just be there at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool for him to be involved like that. But, every day we're constantly talking about press releases that may come out for all conference players. On Sunday or Monday, we might get an email. Brian Johnson will shoot that to me. We'll communicate, hey, we'll do a video for it if you guys want to put a graphic out for it, or vice versa. And really, lately the biggest one is we had an incident last year, about a year ago, and we're coming up on a year next week. And we wanted to do something to commemorate Jordan Wiggins. So we can't do that while mentioning his name, and that's been a challenge for us because obviously we feel some type of way about him. He was our brother. He was our teammate. So we have to go the route of suicide prevention video, and that'll come out on Wednesday morning for us. But we had to get our scripts approved by doctors. We had to get it approved by Brian. Everybody had to approve it, so we're not telling someone to say the wrong things. And I think it'll be really cool because, you know, the players are excited and we're all behind it. But it is an issue and it's something to take serious, and we like to take action on those types of things too. You know, especially in the summertime with the protests, we wanted to be one of the first ones to go out and have our voice heard because, I mean, I feel some type of way about the protests. I really think we should, you know, Black lives do matter and it needs to be said as many times as it can be. But obviously there's people that don't feel that way. So finding the happy medium when you're running an official account is really tough when you feel strongly about one way of it. But those are the types of ways, you know, we work across departments, and it's pretty crazy how many people, you'd be surprised how many people you're going to end up working with when you get a job.
I have a question. Well, last year I used to do recruiting too. I used to work on the bus
Yep.
last year. So, what's been like the biggest adjustment that you've had to make becoming an assistant director of player personnel?
Really managing time, because being a video guy and being director of Gata Lifestyle, that's kind of under the same realm. You know what I mean? You're dealing with cameras, you're dealing with constantly uploading, editing stuff. Director of player personnel is, you got to completely take your video hat off and go into coaching mode and flip into, okay, this is what we're looking for in a running back. This is what we're looking for in a quarterback. These are his measurables, you know, that type of thing. This is where he projects. You know, it's like when you watch the NFL draft, like that, all that stuff that they're talking about that player, like you're doing that by yourself, not with all these analytics professionals. You're trying to do it the best you can by yourself. And the guy in charge, the new director of player personnel, he's amazing. He came from Michigan State. He's got a really good system in place. So it's been cool to learn that system, and to be able to just bounce ideas back off each other. And but the biggest adjustment is literally to put the other one down to pick the other one up. You know what I mean? It's like the time that I used to have before practice that, you know, I mess around, play music in the stadium. It's like, well, I give that job to somebody else now. I delegate it out so that I can get 10 guys watched. You know what I mean? So just being able to make that decision and plan your day out to do that, it's definitely been the biggest adjustment.
I'll ask a question. Hi, I'm Karia.
How are you?
I'm good. So I guess my question is more about Gata Lifestyle. So how do you guys go about, like, you know, scheduling your content? Because I know a lot of stuff you guys get, it's like, you know, like the week before and then like editing, putting it all together and then putting it out for the next week. You guys go about that?
It's been a nightmare this year, honestly, especially with COVID. So when COVID, like scheduling content throughout the season is generally pretty easy because like we just start with the games on Saturday. This is what we want on Saturday. We know the yellow buses are coming out, so we're going to do a bus video. We know we have a uniform of some sort we're going to wear, so we're going to do something for the uniform, whether it's graphic or whether it's a video, just because we would like to make that appealing to recruits because we would like them to see it and be like, oh, wow, that's fire. You know, that's what they're wearing today. Let me tune in. And then some sort of game day, like graphic or picture, just to get you right for the game. So like that's where I usually start. Then I start backtracking what's going to lead up to that. So Friday, like I know we always do a Friday night hype video. That's what we've kind of been known for. And it all ends on Friday night, basically, for us. You know what I mean? So how do we build that same, like we know it's going to be in the Friday night video. So how are we going to build it up? And Coach Lunsford gives us a theme of the week, usually on Tuesdays, on a really good week on Sundays. And so we get the theme of the week. We try to incorporate it in all the pictures and graphics that we do. And honestly, it's hard to plan because you can't plan for Najee Thompson getting special teams player of the week because he got 2 punts blocked. You know what I mean? Or like Shy, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So it's hard. Like Saturday night, you're thinking, okay, he just broke a big run. Okay, that's 2 and 3 now. He could get special teams player. You know what I mean? He could get offensive player of the week. So we'll just go ahead and make it. Like right now, we already have some made because at some point somewhere along the line, Shy or Wesley Kennedy is going to get player of the week, you know? So that's how we try to help ourselves with planning it. Just knowing things in advance and doing the most you can in advance, honestly. Cause going like last year, going into the NFL draft, we had no idea where Kendall and Tyler Bass were going to go, but we had jersey swaps for all 32 teams, you know what I mean? And it sucks, but as soon as they get drafted, it goes out. And if you waited 40 minutes for you to do the jersey swap, the other account would have got the better interaction. So you just got to do it in order to put yourself in the best chance for a tweet to blow up, because that's all you're really hoping for.
I got another one, Phil. We obviously, almost everyone on here is a student. So, and you touched on it a little bit, but maybe could you talk a little bit more, elaborate on what the students who work for you, what do they do? What are their roles?
Yeah, so they're kind of, it's a pretty wide range. So when I got the job, there was Coach's Video and there was Gata Lifestyle. And the first thing I did was we're all Gata Lifestyle. Like whether you're shooting Coach's film or you're shooting on the sideline taking a cool picture, like you're Gata Lifestyle. So the different ranges, like the wide range of work they do. So starting with Coach's Video, we have 3 primary filmers. So one will be on the sideline and then one in each end zone. And those are specifically like shooting the game like you would on TV. Like you watch it on TV, you see the sideline copy. Sometimes they give you the end zone copy, but that's specifically for coaches to evaluate and break down film and that type of stuff. So that's 3 jobs right there for students. And then typically I need one of those coaches film guys or girls, because the cool thing about us this year is our in-game shooters are both girls. I feel like we got to be one of the only teams in the country that's happening, and I think that's pretty cool. But they're both really good at taking pictures too. So pregame, they go out and take pictures. When it's time for them to shoot the game for coaches film, they'll hand their camera off to somebody else for video, and then they'll go up and shoot the game coaches video. And then, so as you know, the more skills you have, the higher likelihood we can get you in the door. You know what I mean? Like our other coaches film guy, he makes all our graphics and does all our recruiting graphics. And then really we have two to 3 creative video guys is what they're called in this industry, I guess. But all they do is just the cool highlight type stuff that you see on, everybody's social media page now. So we have probably 2 to 3 people doing that. And they're all students, and there's only 3 of them that are paid, and the rest are all unpaid, kind of in a lineup to get paid at some point. And, they know that they really like being a part of the football program and all that stuff. So they're willing to do it. They get hooked up with gear sometimes. They get to travel if they're really good. If they're good at their job, they get to travel. And, it's worked out for us because the older people usually are the ones that get paid, then they graduate, and it opens up a door for somebody else to get paid. And they put their work in and they get rewarded for it at the end of the day. So that's the structure basically that we have.
Can you talk about how the process you go through to create your weekly hype videos or any of the creative process? How do you do the brainstorming session?
Yeah. All right. So the brainstorming session can literally be at any point. Like it could be, I walk into the Gata Lifestyle room, they're all, sometimes one time it happened where one was doing homework and then 2 were ready to go, and we had to go and move, but usually I'll just pop in there and be like, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's figure out the hype video. And it catches people off guard sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And other times we plan for it. You know what I mean? Like if sometimes after practice, we're uploading film and we go off on a tangent and we came up with the uniform video, So it kind of can happen whenever, but usually to know what footage we're going to put in there. So after a game, we'll rate all the clips so we film every single play of the game, and we'll rate it with a 1 through 5 star. All the 5-star clips are like your interceptions, your touchdowns, all that cool stuff. 4 stars will be like, anything that if it looks cool, maybe it's the coin toss or something like that. Freedom's flight, when we used to do that before COVID. yellow bus ride, all that stuff. But that'll all get rated. And then basically we'll pick out a song, or we'll pick out a voiceover or something along those lines. Like we'll try to do 2 to 3 voiceovers a year with somebody that has some ties to the program, or maybe a player or a coach. But yeah, that's how we do it. And we pick the best clips from the game and make sure it lines up with the song, and we roll.
Yeah, I got a question. So like when you were in school, what was most helpful for you, like going from internships to jobs? Like was it connections or like websites like LinkedIn and stuff like that?
I think it was connections, but I say that, and I got my first job with 0 connection. LinkedIn is big time, I feel like, right now, because everyone's getting on it. So I think it is strictly professional. You know what I mean? It's not like Facebook or Instagram where, you can like someone's picture and people think something else. You know what I mean? LinkedIn is strictly professional, so I think it's really good. But I think my connections are really what helped me move on from my first job. Because the second job I got was from a coach that recruited me out of high school, and I just never burnt that bridge, and we kept in touch, which was kind of crazy. And he ended up getting a head coaching job the same year I was looking for a job. And then the reason I got the job at Georgia Southern was because someone was roommates with the offensive coordinator here at the time in college, and they went to college from where I'm from, and just happened to know somebody when I was looking to get a Division I job. So connections are definitely the biggest thing I think going forward. The more people you can meet and just maintain the relationship, you know what I mean? Just shoot them a text every now and then, because you never know when that person's going to get a job at wherever, you know what I mean? And as long as you've just maintained the relationship with them and just be a good person, and you'll get rewarded for it. You know what I mean? Just check in on people every now and then, and that'll help you keep your connections. And I think that'll help you land where you want to be.
I have another question.
Okay.
So since you want to be a coach, like, do you like kind of take the time on game day, like if you have like a free moment to like kind of like shadow other coaches and like watch what they do, so you can kind of like develop yourself a little bit better?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the cool thing about here is I can go into the offensive staff or defensive staff meeting and be like, why did we just do that? You know what I mean? Like why don't we throw the ball more? I can go ahead and say that, and I can get an actual answer as to why we're not doing something, and no one thinks it's a threat. You know what I mean? Whereas that does happen sometimes, but they know me by now, that they know I'm just trying to learn as to why we did that. And I think that is really cool. And I've been able to do that while still in this role. And I think that's what keeps me in it. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I'm so far gone from it. It's still right there. I still have the ability to walk in Coach DeBest's office and be like, why don't you put this play in this week? You know what I mean? And he could tell me hell no or hell yeah. You know what I mean? And that's still pretty cool to be able to still do that. So, but yeah, they let me know, and things I can learn from too. So it's pretty cool.
Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? All right, Phil, if you have any last words.
Yeah, I do. I just want everyone to know that when Hard in the Paint by Waka Flocka comes on in the stadium when we play South Alabama, shout out Dan Adams for getting that done. In sync with the lights. It's pretty legit.
It's going to be awesome.
It is. It is going to be awesome. But no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me guest speak.